Good morning, traders and investors. I'm Joel Alconin, and welcome to Premarket Info.
And I'm Dennis Dick. On today's show, we're going to talk about Knight striking a deal to keep the firm alive, but it looks like it's going to have serious dilution as the traders that are helping to bail this company out are going to be able to buy this stock for $1.50 a share. Strong close Friday. Will this rally continue? And we're going to explore a lot of S&P top components as they all approach key resistance levels.
Well, the Knight Trading Group, I guess that you could classify that as a take under.
Take under. It looks like TD Ameritrade's going to be involved. Gecko's going to be involved. Quite a few firms are going to be involved here. They're going to be able to convert 267 million shares into common stock. So they're getting a convertible preferred. That'll be converted into 267 million shares at $1.50 a share, so over $400 million worth of dilution here. So this is serious dilution for the Knight shareholders. It is trading significantly above that $1.50 conversion price at $2.81 because the general public can't convert at $1.50, just the firms that are helping Knight out here.
Yeah, Blackstone was also involved in that deal as well as Stifel Nicholas. It looks like to me that they're kind of spreading the risk here. That they still acknowledge that this company is in a lot of trouble. I guess they have met their capital standards, but no one wanted to step out on the line, take everything under one company. Yeah. So they spread the risk out here a little bit. It's going to take a lot of sub pennies to make up for that $440 million loss.
Yeah, it will take a lot of sub pennies to make. Obviously, Knight's biggest business is buying retail order flow. And when we say sub pennies, they provide price improvement to customers, and that's where they make a lot of their money, is trading directly against these retail orders. Obviously, they still have a lot of connections. TD Ameritrade's directly related with that, so it's not surprising that they're involved in the deal because they do sell a lot of their retail orders to Knight. So not surprising that TD Ameritrade is involved, but not good for Knight shareholders, but at least the company's still alive.
Yep, and they'll get back, hopefully fix that glitch, and I guess it's we'll see what happens. I guess New York Stock Exchange is starting to look into the acceleration of high-speed trading and going to try and get to a remedy. But you just have to think back that this happened with one firm on the street. What if this happened with two firms at the same time?
What if they were sending 1,000 share orders? Or what if they were sending orders across? It wasn't just on 150 stocks. What if it was in all the stocks? And what if it was bigger size? Like, you've really got to have risk controls put into place. Obviously, that wasn't the case here. And we had 29 minutes of basically the firm just being almost liquidated here, just as it was the rogue algorithm was hitting the bids and taking the offers and just driving prices to ridiculous levels like we seen with the Radio Shack there last week. So crazy. It was a crazy Wednesday for Knight. Too bad that happened. Glad to see that they're still going to be out, and glad to see some firms have stepped up to help bail them out. The overall market here, though, actually performing quite well despite the Knight comments, or despite the Knight debacle on Wednesday, Draghi comments last week. We're up here at the highs of the move here for the last 2 months.
Yeah, and a lot of times on a Friday, you'll get an extreme move to one end of the market. The last 2 weeks, we've had moves to the upper end of the trading range for the week. And it's always interesting to see if you get the old Friday, Monday follow-through or the Friday fade. At this point, we ticked just $1.75 below the close in the pre-market. We've traded up to $13.93 and a quarter. Just shy of that close on May 1st. I mean, it sure feels like it's going up, but it just doesn't seem like it's in any big hurry to get there.
Yeah, we kind of have broken up above this whole 1387 area that we were highlighting that might give you some resistance. We broke above there on Friday, and we're holding there. We've obviously touched down to 1387.25 today, so right at the top of that old resistance. Now I guess that's going to become support, but there's a lot of air here above here. So if you start to make a march for 1400, maybe we can see that high. What's the high of the year there, Joel?
The high of the move front contract has been 14.13 and a quarter on
So
March 27th. So I mean that's your target for the week. I'd sure like to see the market break above that and kind of get away from here from this support level. This 13.87 a quarter is support. It was the high from last week as well. Below that, things really open up to the $13.80 level. But not only is the market the S&Ps, trading at resistance levels. You have several components of the Big Ten just coming up on some gargantuan levels here. Starting with Apple Computer, this 620, I think it's.
huge.
I think it's almost 20 for a Joel Dennis bet here. 598 versus 638.
This 620 area is absolutely enormous. We topped out back here 619.87 in the early July there on July the 10th. But if you go back here to right after Apple had their report there in April, we'd gapped up and then we sold it all off. We got up to as high as I think 618 there. And if you go back before then, we had another high here back right 620.25 back on April 18th. So call it 620 area, major resistance. We are trading $2 away from there right now, 618, but it's kind of been marching. I almost feel like it's going to take it out. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these scenarios where you are coming against major resistance. It's very hard to short this stock as is going up to these levels. You have a lot of buy stops and just a lot of, meaningless action. What also a good thing to do at a lot of these, let's see if it takes it out. If it takes out 620 and goes to 622 or 623 and then comes back down through that level, that sometimes is a better short, and at least you're catching the stock with the momentum going down. Here, if you're shorting while it's going up, you're bound to get stopped out the way this thing trades. Also, another characteristic of Apple that I've noticed since I've been doing close numbers on it is a lot of times when it gets to these key levels, it will either bust through them and keep going, or we'll have a couple days of just consolidation. And what I mean by consolidation is a smaller normal range. For example, on Friday, not a huge range for Apple considering how much the market moves. So yeah, look for a breakout above the 620 and off to 644, or some consolidation and a breakdown back down to the major support at 600.
620 is huge on this. Exxon Mobil, if you want to talk about huge levels, though, I've drawn a trend line up. But if you look further out to the weeklies, this $88 level is insane. This is as big of resistance as you're probably going to get from a technical chart. 88 bucks is huge. The stock is closed at 87.55. Hasn't traded here this morning yet. Could open up into this resistance area, which could be a nice setup for maybe a short off the hop if it keeps the momentum going and takes out that $88 level. You do have a high back. Where was that? Back in 2011, 88.23 was it, Joel?
Yep, exactly.
88.23 we got as high as back in early 2011. So you're going back to those levels. That's the bogey. You start getting above 88.23, then it could be in full breakout mode. Maybe get 90 on the mind. But 88 bucks is just enormous on this.
Yeah, also you had a high back in July of 2008 at 88.88. Also a little favorable ink in Barron's this weekend over the oil companies, so that may get a little spark. But you know what I really like about these oil companies is that when crude is up at 150, they have gas at $5, and then crude comes all the way back down to $75, $80, and gas comes down to 4. I mean, they still manage to make money no matter where
they
crude
do.
oil is.
Like they'll say when the oil price jacks up is exactly right. They're quick to raise the gas prices at the pump, blaming oil. But when the oil price comes down, you sure don't see relief at the pumps. So that's always a complaint of mine too. The exact same thing, because we watch the oil every day, and you go to the pumps like oil fell $5, but you don't see that gas price dropping at the pumps. So ExxonMobil definitely is a company that's done a lot of things right. I mean, it's very close. What's the all-time high on ExxonMobil? You got that in front of you?
I believe that stock traded over $90.
I was
Yeah,
like 94 or 95. I got 95.10. Was there anything higher than
I
that?
got 96.12.
96.12.
Yeah,
There you go.
May
Yeah.
of 2008.
Yeah.
But boy, when you look at the monthlies here, boy, that $88 level just stands out. It's just something that you got to keep an eye on if you're a long-term investor. and you've just been lamenting when the stock, dips down in the 70s. But this is a good area, and it's gonna. Today's a day. It seems poised to break through it, but $88 is the number. Another stock that's been marching, coming up to a little bit farther from a critical resistance level, is IBM.
IBM $200 has been huge on this. If we go back into mid-June, we got just under there at 199.99. So those high-frequency traders, they love to lean on size. They know there's some institutional orders in IBM at 200 that are selling. So expect that whole upper 199 area to give you some high-frequency resistance. Even the swing traders out there, they know that 200 is a critical level, both from a technical perspective and from an order flow perspective. So 200 is big. I'd expect if it opens up into that resistance area to give it a little resistance here off the hop. Eventually, it could take this out and then starts to open up.
Yeah, I mean we're $2 away from it now, so it's not
I
going to
think it's
have
going to
that.
have trouble today again.
Yeah,
That.
trouble's going to have the day. We are trading below the close here. That just little measly 200 shares there, so I wouldn't pay a lot of attention to that. The close will be minor resistance here, 198.52. You also have Friday's high, 198.95. It looks pretty scary to be short in this 199 handle, low 199s until you get
I'd
up
rate
to
it
that
to the
mid.
upper
Yep.
199s. I think
Yeah.
I think you can sit on this. I think you get a shot probably in the upper 199s. And I think a lot of other traders will be taking that same shot. But just be careful. You know where your bogey is. This thing starts getting up above 200. I wouldn't want to be short the stock, but it could hold today, so it might give you a nice setup there on IBM.
Okay, Microsoft, after being a severe laggard so far in this rally, getting a pop of 21 cents in the pre-market.
Popping up here. I liked your comments on your weekly technical outlook, which is on the site if each other traders want to check it out. But what you highlighted was how quickly it moved down from that 31 area as it opened that day, went straight down to 30. So what we always say, what goes down quickly can move up quickly. I don't think Microsoft's going to get a dollar run, but if this thing starts getting above $30, it really starts to open up. There's not a lot of reference points in there because we did move so quickly through the area. So don't expect this thing to just halt at 30, 30, 30, 40. This thing starts to really run. It could run 50 cents in a day here above $30.
Yeah, we're trading just a couple pennies away from Friday's high. So if you want to, try and take advantage of something, and now we're, not to have a gap situation, you can take a look at that 29.94 level. You have the close at 20 cents below that. So I don't think 30 is going to be as big a resistance level. I mean, I know there obviously be some, some quants there and some size, but it would be interesting to follow what happens with Microsoft in this $30 handle. Another stock against a big level. Boy, that GE was
Oh, wow.
just churning at 2021. Is your buddy still there?
There's 1.3 million shares sitting there on GE, so it is absolutely enormous level for the stock. 21, it seems like there's a few institutions that are dumping stock there. It's going to have a running start at, though. We're 20.98 right now, 20.99 trading now. We are right there, 1 cent under it. I don't think it's going to trade there over there pre-market, but at the open, it could peck away and take this out in the first few minutes. But the high frequency guys will try to hold. That's what they do. They try to sit in front of that big size there at 21, provide resistance, and they'll try to hold the fort. If the 21 starts to go down, though, they're quick to cover. So don't miss the 21. It could start moving after that.
Okay, Chevron Corporation kind of had a weak close, popping up again. 111.88 was Friday's high, but the more important number is 112.28 all-time high. Is there any size kicking around at 112 there?
Yeah, there is 270,000 shares, so there's some big institutional sellers. These whole numbers are really coming into play. I know it seems simple. I know it seems like, oh, you just guys quoting on whole numbers, but the stuff works because institutions throw out these big size orders of these whole numbers, and the high frequency guys drool. They love leaning on that stuff, so you've got to be cognizant of these levels. And the 111.90s is going to be high frequency resistance all over the place there as they lean on that 112 seller.
Okay, it looks like AT&T took a little breather on Friday while the rest of the market went up, but that stock is up 23% of the year, still paying well over a 4% dividend. You could have just a little pause phase. AT&T a lot of times will make a big move and then chop around in a buck range here. So 37 major support, 38 was Friday's high, and then you have the 52-week and multi-year high at 38.23.
I like that 37 to 38 call that you made. This thing starts, it's kind of in the middle right now, 37.68 or 64, so it's trading right in the middle. Gets up to this 38 area, which was the high on Friday. Probably see a little bit of resistance up there as traders maybe try to make a double top in the chart. But if it gets down, gets down that low 37 area, then you can maybe be a buyer. But if you're trading it right here in the middle, you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So it's almost like a coin flip if you're making a trade at 37.50, 37.60. So I'd probably wait till I get up to that upper 38 where you find some resistance, or it gets into the low 37s where you find some support.
Yep, just the same theme here with Johnson and Johnson, but we're 50 cents away from the 52-week high and multi-year high. Back in September of 2008, we traded 69.97. Got a little ways to travel to get up there today, but boy, the HFT guys have been stepping out ahead of that $70 level and beating it back down to 69.
69.75 has just been a big number here. We topped out at 69.70 back on July 19th. We topped out at 69.68 on July 27th. The next day, 58, and then 69. Just 2 days ago, we topped out at 69.75 again. So it looks like 69.75 has been a big level of resistance. We know there's some huge institutional sellers up at 70, so even if you get above 69.75, I think you run into trouble in the 69.90s from the high frequency guys again. So I'd say initial high frequency resistance probably in that 69.70 to 69.75 area, and then more high frequency resistance 69.90 to 70. Above 70, then we're off to the races maybe, but that $70 is going to be big.
Okay, Wells Fargo, after it got knighted on Wednesday last week, got up to 34.80 and then sold off. Just want to alert traders. On Friday, you had Thursday's high at 33.68 and then only traded a nickel below that at 33.63. Rallied, running into minor resistance at Friday's high at 34.40. The major, though, is 34.80. That was a 52-week high. And then above that at 35.08 was a high back on November 4th of 2008. So we're hearing a lot of this 2008 numbers here. I mean, for you long-term investors that held on through the dip, man, this could be your chance to scratch a few trades.
Scratch a few trades or even make some money if you bought anything in the last 3 or 4 years, because we are approaching 2008 levels on a number of stocks, and Wells Fargo's one of them. $35, probably that whole area, some resistance here. If we start to get above 35, then it starts to open up a bit, but it still looks thick. These 34s looks thick. We're right in the middle of them all, so I think we need to start getting above 35 to really start moving on this. Otherwise, you could just hang out, and the high frequency guys might just keep playing this from the short side in the upper 34s. We also had Walmart, actually, just to move off from the Big Ten for a second. Walmart got an upgrade here this morning from Stifel Nicholas. Everybody seems to hop on this Walmart bandwagon. When is this stock going to stop from its ridiculous climb here?
I don't know. Maybe when you're running into some resistance here. 75.24 has been the recent high, so I guess you got to wait and see if a double top's going to be made in this. You also just kind of sneaking around this $75 level. I see a high at 74.98, but I think the best thing to do this, if you're just a long-term investor and you sat on this thing for a while, instead of trying to pick a top, pick an area of support that you think if it's taken out that you don't want to be long the stock, because if you've been following that strategy and giving yourself a little room, there's been some down days where you may have gotten taken out, but this has just been a pretty steady climb.
It's been a really good climb, really, ever since they had those troubles back there in April, and then it started to break out, and boom, we've been off to the races, and the stock's been straight up $15. I can say, oh, whoop-de-doop-de, it's moved up 13 or 14 points. This is Walmart, man. This thing's traded, if you go back into the monthlies and stuff, this thing traded really in a 10-point range for 10 years. So,
hey, who's buying Best Buy, Dennis? Who's taking them out?
You think somebody's taking out Best Buy? Is that what's popping? Oh, they are too. Right now we got Best Buy just hitting the wire here. Best Buy flying right now. Good call there. 24. Schultz is looking like he's going to make a $24 to $26 share buyout offer from Bloomberg right now. That's what's being reported. 24 to 26. It looks like it's from Bloomberg reporting that. So I'm not sure if that's actual news here or not. But 22.50, the stock is really popping up here in the pre-market.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm one of the only people that shops there, and a lot of times I shop and then return things. Those stores are too big. I mean, they are just too big. I just don't see. I mean, if they were coming up to the end of their leases on a bunch of stuff, it might be worth taking a look at. But those stores are just too big. It's just you just can't pay rent and sell when you have Amazon and these other companies competing. So if you've been a bottom fisher here in the BBY and you're going for another one of these head fakes, you can keep an eye on the pre-market high so far. Right when this news came out,
23.55.
yeah, this thing popped up. You can use 23.55 as a bogey. If this thing's getting taken over at 24 to 26, there's still some non-believers out there.
Man, the only thing though, if you're buying this thing up at 23.55, we've heard this a few times already. Rumors. It's popped up 3 or 4 times in the past on rumors. This one looks a little more substantial though. They've got a price here actually too, so a little bit more substantial, which is why it probably will hold up maybe here. Obviously, if that Bloomberg article is true. So, but you got to consider here, there's a lot of people been sitting on losses too. So this thing isn't going to pop right to 25 bucks off the hop. There's profit takers that say, oh, what if he doesn't go through with this? I'll take my quick bucks and get out of here right now. So
And for,
22.30. It's even pulling down now. Like you said, we trade 23.55. We're 22.31 right now.
And even for you, you naysayers out there that don't believe in technical analysis, take a look at the high on July 2nd of this year, 23.57. Obviously, some savvy trader was identifying that area as an area of resistance, had the sell orders out there,
Yep.
and now it's down $1.50. So if this thing's for real, then they'll take it through 23.57 and trade higher.
Yeah, eventually, anyways. But I think it'll take some time to get up there. I wouldn't be a buyer of it up here. I'll put it that way. After just trade at 17.64, because without Schultz, I don't really like the stock here at all. So hard to say. I don't think I'm a seller when something's already had a 24, 26 price put on it, but I'm not a buyer up there either. So I'd sit on my hands on this one. Uh,
Okay, so all we did is we talked about all these great resistance levels. Are we just out there? Are we out there trying to pick a top today, or what
Looks
are we
like
gonna
it.
do?
Yeah, looks like we're trying to pick a top here. Anyways, I mean, we are up this morning. We're looking for our targets, but if we start to take out these resistance levels, like we said, the S&P itself has some room to run, so that could press a lot of these stocks through these resistance levels.
Yep, I would keep an eye 1405 and a quarter. Wow, we're talking about the 14 handle again, folks. Was the high on May 1st, so that should be an area of major resistance. Coming back on the downside, as long as you maintain 1387 and a quarter, which has been the Globex low, up to the close at 1389, we're good to go to north.
That's our show for today, folks, and we'll be back with you guys tomorrow.